empower a generation of problem solvers. Youth who solve problems creatively and have an entrepreneurial mindset. Does anybody know the riddle? The 9-dot grid. So picture a 9-dot grid. Have you got it in your mind? 9 dots. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Aha. You no longer have to visualize. Okay. So how many of you know the solution to? Can you join all 9 dots with 4 straight connected lines? Anybody? Do you come up and draw it? Show us how you're going to do it. Nice. Do we have prizes for this guy? Okay. There we go. So, the trick to solving this was thinking outside the box. You needed your lines to head a little bit outside the box. And so that's the kind of thinking that I want us to be using today. Thinking outside the box. And today's activity will be connecting the dots in a slightly more abstract way than this. We have a large number of complex, seemingly irresolvable problems that we face in South Africa and globally. So what we're going to be doing today is looking at just some of those that I selected randomly by perusing Mail and Guardian and Ground Up and pulled some random stats and statements from some recent articles. And we're going to be looking at those problems and we're going to be using a toolkit to solve those. So what I've put up here is a list of trends and technologies. So we're looking at solar, LED lighting, upcycling, drones, QR codes, MOOCs, e-commerce, SMS, USSD, smartphones, open source, crowdsourcing, biomimicry, gamification, DIY, Google Maps, GPS, social media. So they're just wild, disconnected ideas. All of them are either some sort of technology, not the latest, wildest technology, you'll see USSD there. We could add wearable tech. What I want you to do is picture yourself picking up this toolkit. You can picture one of those, sexy little tool belts. You can picture a backpack, a hipster leather briefcase, whatever you want to carry around. Pop some of these, the ones you're familiar with, the ones you're not familiar with, pop them in your little toolcase. What I want you to do is get into pairs. You have to stand up and find someone that you've never spoken to before, because you're going to have to solve this problem. Our school system doesn't breed entrepreneurs. What you're going to do is in your page, you get 30 seconds. Think of something wild, crazy, impossible, useless, just a plain old bad idea, but maybe it's crazy brilliant enough to be a good idea. So find a partner. I'll start with 30 seconds. And then I want some feedback as to what you thought of. Okay, so everyone up. So I want you to brainstorm how you can use one of these tools to solve this problem. Our school system doesn't breed entrepreneurs. Who would like to share their idea? But you have to share it in a tweet. Not a real tweet, but imaginary. 140 characters, we've not got time to listen to your idea.
Okay, we said crowdsourcing parents to fund a project that would encourage their children to be entrepreneurs.
Wow, 60 seconds and we get that. Who else wants to share?
We went for getting current entrepreneurs involved, it's sort of human capital, and involving the community with events, incentive prizes, scholarships, things like that.
An educational entrepreneurial game through social media and smartphones.
We came up with an iPhone app whereby your peers grade work rather than lecturers or teachers.
I think people aren't aware of the resources that they have even in their community. So basically creating an app to provide those things.
Our idea is introduce new technologies but make them figured out.
What we're going to do is do that again. Go. 3, 2, 1. All right. The next problem statement. 2 million South Africans fail to stay debt-free. 30 seconds, perhaps. perhaps will be more legitimate 30 seconds, maybe 40. Get your toolkit and go. Yeah, who's going to share one?
My idea is if 2 million people are in debt to one another, really, then why don't we all just get together and cancel each other's debts?
We thought about creating a budgeting app where you can state everything you need that year and your finances, and then if you exceed that finance, and then it's going to show you that no, you're not supposed to.
Our idea was similar to hers, but instead it was using gamification and incorporating it at an education level, so that people grow up knowing how to manage their finances and avoid debt.
Have like organizations that invest in like finance, like banks and stuff, and then you earn interest on that money. And then if someone has a good cause, then you give the interest, which is basically going to be the loan, but it's to pay it back.
Right. Next one that we're going to do. So swap around. Are you guys scouting out the guys who have really good ideas? Okay, so look around and look for someone that looks really smart, because you might want them in your team. Okay? Alright, this challenge has something quite a lot to do with co-creation. Women are underrepresented in STEM, science, tech, engineering, and maths careers. Go. So your toolkit, solar, LED light, smartphones, open source, e-commerce, SMS, social media, Google Maps, wearable tech.
So we were saying maybe have like a solar energy competition, but only for all girls schools. So it encouraged girls to think out of the box and stuff.
We kind of underlie the problem with women, like are taught, almost men are taught to inspire to being astronauts and stuff from a young age, whereas women are often like taught to be to just get a job, and once you've got a job, that's enough for women. So we thought like you send out a weekly SMS to young women with a different story of a woman who's done something fantastic. So for example, like you could send out like the coding for Apollo 11 was all done by a woman, no one knows that. And so you can send out like a story like that, and every week you just give a different story, and that's what needs inspiration.
Amazing. Do you guys all feel like idea machines now? You're idea machines. You have so many ideas in your mind. You don't need to be precious with your ideas, because you have so many of them. And sharing them and talking to other people, especially people you don't know, makes you even more of an idea machine. So what we were doing is we were connecting the dots. We were looking at problems that I had found in, as I said, investigative news, journalism, newspaper, Mail and Guardian, Roundup, and so on. They were very broadly stated. So a lot of you started already digging down into the root causes of some of these problems and defining problems better, which is critical in being able to come up with really impactful ideas. And then we were linking those. We were connecting these real human problems. We were connecting those with tech and trends, resources that we had in our toolkit. But you also have knowledge, stuff that you know that no one else knows. Or at least in your circle, you know something that no one else knows. You have skills, especially here at the university. We have skills that are unique to us, that we can apply to these problems. And so we're armed with this toolkit, and exploring that toolkit, starting to understand what are your skills, what knowledge do you have, what opportunities do you have access to, what trends are you aware of, what technologies do you know about. That's your toolkit to go out and solve problems. But then the last circle is your passion. And I think that the magic moment, your unique positioning to take action, is where you see the overlapping of a real human need with a skill or resource opportunity that's unique to you with your own passion. Because if you're just addressing a problem with an opportunity that you have, sure, you're like, yeah, it's going to be the next big thing, but it's not making you wake up and work really hard, you're not going to wake up and work really hard, and it probably won't work. Like for me, education, I have no idea why I'm passionate about it, but it makes me wake up every morning and do something. And I think in the first 3 weeks we did a lot of exploring of like, what are you passionate about? And that's such an important starting place to know what is your unique positioning. What is that idea that you're going to take forward? Because the thing is, we can have loads of ideas. It's understanding which is the one we're going to run with, which is the one we're going to drive forward and go with. I have a quote for you. Success means that we go to sleep at night knowing that our talents and abilities were used in a way to serve other people. And another one. Don't ask what the world needs. Ask what makes you come alive and go do it. Because what the world needs is people who've come alive. So the combination of those two really speaks to that diagram that I showed you. All right. So the next activity starts helping us dig down into problems and specify and define them a lot better, because these were very broad. So a lot of you got frustrated. You were like, why did you give us such a broad topic? Couldn't we go, we need to specify this. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to take these problem statements and I'm going to lay them out on the floor. And I want you to walk around and find one that speaks to you, something that makes you excited, okay? So this is picking one that you're passionate about. But if you're struggling, don't worry, you've only got to be passionate for the next 20 minutes, so it's also okay. But in life, choose better. And then what I want you to do is, so gather into groups, hopefully we're fairly evenly distributed. I'll put some blank ones down, because maybe someone has a problem that's burning that they want answered and they want to work with the team on. And you can write some other statements. And so I want you in those teams to all ask the question, why? So why are women underrepresented in STEM careers? And the first round is just in silence. Everyone asks why once. And from there we're going to start sharing and we'll ask why 5 times. So from every reason we'll go out in steps. Why are women underrepresented in tech? Why? So let's lay these down. Everyone, we're going to have to move quickly. 30 seconds to find the one you're passionate about. When you're in your group, I want you to start silently. Once you've got your topic, everyone silently for the first minute needs to ask themselves why. This is so that we get everyone's opinion, because there's always that guy who has the loudest opinion. We want everyone's opinion. So for 1 minute, think silently, ask why silently in your mind, and then we're going to go around the circle and everyone will share those, and we're going to record each one of those whys. Once you've all had the chance to think of your own idea, I want you to go around the circle and represent every single person's opinion. So just ask the first why. Then once you've written down all of those whys, you can start leading out. So from the first reason, I want you to go why? And then start again in the middle and go with someone else's reason. Why? So you're going to slowly build like a spider. So write everyone's reasons around in a circle and then why. That's fine.
So we just spider from there.
Yes. So now you would say, when it goes like, why? You may have to look around and
Start coming again with paper. Start with
I have a little story for you. So, in this story, there's a little nation of little blue creatures, okay? Little blue creatures, and they bounce a bit, they're pretty cute. So these little blue creatures, once a year, they migrate. And they migrate along a long path. But one year, there was a tragedy. Their path that they always traveled along washed away. And the thing is that these little blue creatures are blind, and so they're just falling off this cliff. So you're in this situation, you're seeing these little creatures fall off the cliff. You have 3 options. First, you can go down to the bottom of the cliff and you can triage the little blue creatures. And you can find survivors and you can start issuing some sort of medical assistance to any of the surviving blue creatures. Second, you can go up to the top of the cliff and you can try and build a fence, but there's no materials, so it's going to be quite a long time. You're going to have to go fetch those materials, but at the point when the fence is built, you'll hopefully be able to prevent any more falling off. Third option, you can go 100 meters back, and you can stand and you can try and persuade the little blue creatures about the fact that this road is washed away. But these are stubborn little blue creatures, and there's no guaranteeing that they're going to listen to you. So, which one would you choose? Who's going to go with the bottom of the cliff? Hands up. Bottom of the cliff. Who's going to go for building a fence? Who's going to go for going to the back? Okay, so the point of this exercise is that there's actually many different ways to address a problem, and that none of them are inherently better than any of the others. And that addressing these large, complex, irresolvable problems, we actually need people with many different perspectives and many different ways of addressing these problems. So what you'll have started seeing in Asking Why is you make these complex loops. You're going, why? And then you're like, oh, but that causes that, and that leads into that. How many of you are getting into those sort of situations? Okay, so you've deepened your understanding of why this problem is, and brainstorm a solution, and then we'll quickly share some of your ideas. So, 2 minutes.
The whole thing, it gets revised by into the video, and the lawmakers, the people who actually have authority to make the decision, they have to use this document, and anyone who doesn't contribute to the document doesn't get a say. So
do you guys want to share?
What we thought of is giving us a competition and then giving them incentives like prizes, not making it completely compulsory, but kind of making it part of the syllabus, and then getting the best like 5 groups to scale that project so it can be applied in a useful scenario.
Amazing. This group was working on debt.
We kind of discussed that one of the biggest problems is that people aren't educated enough about the consequences of debt, and so maybe creating a system where before you can acquire your, the loan, there should be policies in place for people that have to be explained how debt works and how they have to pay it back, and maybe more stringent policies in order to make sure that unsecured lending is sort of maintained.
Imagine if you had this many ideas every meridian. But it's possible because you're sitting at UCT and all of these people that you've been brainstorming with sit around you on Jammy. So you actually can have this many ideas every meridian. What I would encourage you to do is take these ideas. You've started. We didn't really have enough time to start digging into brainstorming and so on. But I'd encourage you to carry on doing it. Start sharing your ideas. If you can, actually share them in a tweet. Share them at UCT Upstarts. That would be fantastic. Make plans to meet up with these people and carry on brainstorming on these topics. So I want to end by saying that asking why, asking why is just one way of starting to understand your problem better. So to wrap up, I will ask Gina to send you some great tools.